This happened in the fall of 2008. I was driving home from college for Thanksgiving break, just me, my beat-up Corolla, and about 400 miles of empty highway stretching across Kansas. I left late in the day, thinking I could power through the drive in one go. Dumb idea. Around midnight, I was somewhere between nowhere and nothing. No towns for miles, not even a rest stop. The road was pitch black except for my headlights. I had the radio off, windows cracked, just trying to stay awake. That's when I saw him, standing in the median, where the road splits into 2 lanes. Middle of nowhere, middle of the night. A man, just standing there. No flashlight, no car, no visible sign of distress. He was wearing what looked like a brown jacket and slacks, like something out of the 1950s. I slowed down, thinking maybe he needed help, but something about him made my stomach twist. His face was wrong. I don't know how to explain it. It was as if I couldn't see it. Even in my headlights, it was blurred, like a smudge on a photograph. And then he turned toward me. He didn't move his legs, just pivoted. Slowly, like a puppet. I floored it, checked my mirror. He was still standing there, exactly the same. No reaction, just watching. I didn't stop for the next 2 hours, not until I saw the lights of a gas station. I told the clerk about the man in the median. He paused, stared at me for a second, then said, "You saw him too, huh?" I asked what he meant. He said, "You're not the first. That stretch of road used to be 2-lane both ways. A guy got hit head-on, killed instantly. No one stopped. They said his face was mangled beyond recognition. I couldn't sleep for days. I still avoid that highway, because I swear, if I ever slow down again, he won't just watch." It was the summer of 2015, and my boyfriend Mason and I were doing something most people only talk about. We packed up my beat-up Honda Civic, took a month off from work, and hit the road. From Colorado to North Carolina, with nothing but Spotify playlists, junk food, and cheap motels guiding our way. We'd made it through Kansas, dipped through Missouri, and by the 3rd night we found ourselves deep in rural Tennessee. The plan was to drive straight through to Knoxville, but around 3 a.m. Mason had passed out in the passenger seat, and I was left alone with the road. We hadn't seen another vehicle in over an hour. Fog had started rolling in, thick and low, hugging the pavement like a ghost. It swallowed my headlights so badly I could barely see 20 feet ahead. I remember checking the clock as we passed mile marker 237. That's when the GPS freaked out. The screen froze, then flickered, then flashed red. Seriously red, and finally rebooted. When it came back on, the voice said, "Take the next exit." But there was no sign, no ramp, no indication of any turn. And then, there it was, a narrow exit to the right. No markings, no lights. But the GPS insisted, turn right. Turn right. In hindsight, I should have kept going, but I was tired, foggy-headed, and I figured maybe it was rerouting us to a rest stop or something. So I took the exit. The ramp curved downward endlessly, like a spiral. There were no lights, no railings, no signs. Eventually, it fed into a cracked 2-lane road lined with old oaks. The trees leaned in like they were trying to swallow us whole. That's when Mason woke up. He rubbed his eyes, sat up and said, "Where the hell are we?" I told him about the GPS rerouting. He leaned forward, looked out the windshield and said, dead serious, "We need to turn around." "What? Why?" He pointed at the houses up ahead. First, I didn't see them, but then they emerged from the fog. Run-down, rotting old homes on either side of the road, porches collapsing, windows boarded up. One house had a rusted tricycle on the lawn, like a child had vanished mid-ride. Then we saw them, figures, lined along the edges of the road, watching us. They didn't move, they didn't speak, they just stood there. Men, women, children, all wearing old-fashioned clothes, like something out of the 1930. Mason squinted and whispered, "They don't have faces." And he was right. Where their faces should have been were smooth, blank ovals. No eyes, no mouths, nothing. Then one of them stepped forward, slowly, almost curious. I slammed on the gas, the Civic screamed down the road. Mason kept looking behind us, saying, "They're following us, they're walking." No matter how far we drove, the houses continued. More decayed homes, more faceless people, like we were stuck in a loop. Finally, the road curved hard to the left, and there it was, the highway. We burst out of the fog, tires screeching, and re-entered the main road near mile marker 237 again. I looked in the rearview mirror. The exit was gone. I mean, completely gone. No ramp, no sign. Just a concrete barrier. Mason and I sat in silence for the next 30 minutes. We didn't speak until we saw lights from a 24-hour diner. We stopped, got coffee, and I asked the waitress if there was a town near mile marker 237. Her face paled. "You mean where Mason Hollow used to be?" And that's when my heart dropped. I asked what she meant. She said it was a tiny mountain town, mostly farming families. In 1963, a landslide buried half the homes. Most of the townspeople were never found. The rest either moved or disappeared. I asked again if there was an exit there. She just shook her head. "There's no exit. Not anymore." I don't trust GPS systems now. I still keep paper maps in the glove box, because if we had stayed on that road one more mile, I think we'd still be there. And I don't know what we'd look like now. I've been a long-haul trucker since 1997. I've seen just about every flavor of weird this country has to offer. Dust devils, glowing lights, desert mirages, even animals that look like they walked out of an evolutionary glitch. But what happened in Arizona back in early 2020? That's something I still can't explain. Something I still dream about. It was the tail end of a brutal 16-hour haul, pushing through the Arizona desert. I was headed west, hauling dry goods, somewhere near the Navajo Nation border. Miles of straight highway, no turns, no stops, just sand and sky. I was running out of steam, eyes watering, hands sore from gripping the wheel too long. I pulled off to the shoulder to grab a few hours of sleep. Truckers do it all the time, especially when there's no safe pull-off or rest stop for another 40 miles. I set the brakes, turned off the engine, drew the curtain, and stretched out in the sleeper cab. The desert was dead silent, but a few hours later, I woke to a tapping sound. Soft, rhythmic, like fingernails on glass. Tap, tap, tap. I thought maybe it was a branch from a Joshua tree brushing the side of the cab. I peeked out through the curtain, expecting to see the dark outline of wind-blown plants. But what I saw froze my blood. There was a woman standing outside my passenger side window. She was staring at me. Her face was pale. Her long black hair clung to her face like it had been wet. She was barefoot, wearing what looked like a hospital gown, and her hand, pressed to the window, was leaving behind bloody smears. Clearly she didn't blink. She didn't speak. She just tapped, tap, tap, tap. My body locked up. I couldn't even breathe. I wanted to move, to start the truck, to get the hell out of there, but I couldn't look away. And then she smiled. But it wasn't a smile of relief or friendliness. It was hungry. I finally found the strength to grab the keys, fire up the engine, and take off, tires kicking dust into the night. I didn't look back. About 10 miles down the road, I saw lights from a truck stop. I pulled in, ran inside, and told the guy behind the counter what I saw. He nodded slowly and said, "You stopped out near Red Ridge, didn't you?" I asked how he knew. He said, "A lot of truckers see her. She was a mental patient, escaped from a facility up north, tried to flag down a ride, got hit by a semi right where that turnoff is. Driver never stopped. They say she died waiting. Now she taps on windows looking for the next ride." I asked how many people had seen her. He said, "More than you'd want to know. Some even opened the door." I never stop on that stretch of highway anymore. I push through, even if it means risking fatigue. Because I know, if I ever fall asleep near Red Ridge again, she'll finish her ride. Highways are supposed to be symbols of freedom, open road, music up, windows down. But for those who travel them long enough, something becomes clear. The road is not empty. It remembers. It keeps secrets. From ghostly figures standing in the dark median to faceless towns hidden off foggy exits, there are places on these roads that shouldn't exist. These stories weren't legends. They were true, real people who brushed against something unnatural and survived just long enough to tell the tale. If these haunted highways shook you, don't drive off just yet. Like this video to help it reach more brave souls. Subscribe to join our growing horror community. We're just getting started. Share this with someone who's taking a road trip soon, and maybe they'll think twice before stopping at mile marker 237. And if you've ever seen something unexplainable on the road, lights that weren't headlights, signs that shouldn't be there, a stranger who vanished when you blinked, drop your true story in the comments below. We just might feature it in the next video. Until then, keep your eyes on the road. And remember, sometimes it's not about where you're going. It's what's following you to get there.